together fun.
And with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night.
I'll love you till the day that I die. Heart's and soul, so you can't sleep, and I know that means so. Please, 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 wait for your life. All you gotta do is just meet me at the apples running right to the cool. Let's be up in the nasty girl. Let's be up in the nasty, nasty, nasty girl. I know I could kiss you in the beginning. So kiss me.
Teaching you guys to crochet with me part 1. Good old $3 yarn. Crochet hook any size will work. Make a slip knot however you know how. I twist, pinch and pull. This is called yarning over. Wrap from under and pull. Yarn over, twist hook towards belly, and pull through. Well, you're really doing it. It really is that easy. Just keep practicing. You just learned the chain stitch. This is the beginning of all crochet pieces. Follow for more.
How to single crochet for absolute beginners. Grab your yarn like this and pass it between your pinky and ring finger and hold the project with left hand. You're going to crochet into the second chain from your hook. Put your hook through the loop, then wrap the hook around the yarn away from you and pull it back through. You should now have to loop on your hook. Wrap the hook away from you again and pull it through both those loops. Now you can repeat that on the next stitch over. To make a slip knot, crochet for beginners. Fold yarn in half. Fold yarn over itself, end of yarn side over working yarn. Put 2 fingers under and through loop. Grab working yarn through the loop. Pull end of yarn to tighten your knot. Done!
If you want to learn how to crochet but you're feeling overwhelmed, let me break down the basics for you. Starting off first with the slip knot and the chain. First, let's make a slip knot. You're going to take the end of your yarn and flip it over to create a loop. Then flip the loop over the working yarn and pull through to create the slip knot. And then tighten it on your hook by pulling on the 2 ends. Now, before we start stitching, you want to make sure that you're holding your yarn properly because the tension in your yarn is really important for consistency. To create a chain, you're going to wrap your hook behind the yarn and then pull a loop through the hole that your hook is sitting in. And then you want to repeat that and create as many chains as you want depending on the length of your piece. Once you're done with the chains, it's time to move into the single crochet. So we're going to create our first single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Now in this row only, we are going to put the hook through only the top loop of the chain. Then yarn over by wrapping your hook behind the yarn and pulling through a loop so that you now have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both of the loops on the hook. And then that creates 1 single crochet. And you're going to want to continue that throughout the rest of the row. Once you're done with the row, you're going to turn the piece to the other side. And then before we start the new row, we're going to chain 1 by pulling through a loop. And you'll always turn and chain 1 before the start of each row. So now that our foundation has been built, we can easily see the V's of each stitch. And now for every stitch onwards, you're going to put your hook underneath each V. And just like before, you're going to create single crochet stitches by first pulling a loop onto your hook and then pulling another loop through both. And that's kind of it. You get to repeat that for as long as you want or until your pattern tells you to stop. Please leave any questions in the comments.
How to start a new row in crochet. So you're going to start by chaining as many as you want, and then go back to the previous loop and put your crochet hook in. Whatever stitch you're doing for that project is what you're going to be starting in the new row. I'm using a single crochet, but you can do that all the way until the end of the row, and when you want to create another row, chain 1 and turn your work.
Yeah, they're invincible, and she just in the background. And she says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids.
So I saw these pearl bead trims at the store, and I was immediately inspired to try out this new idea of crocheting with it using yarn. I'm going to try it out with this 10mm crochet hook. I'm using a bulky 5 weighted yarn, and I just have them both on the hook. It's a bit of a struggle with them both, but I've been using a really loose tension, and that's actually helped a lot. And this is how it looks for the very first chain. And now I'm going to test out making a row. I'm going to be using half double crochets and a very loose tension as well. Figuring out the rhythm of this idea has really been helpful, testing it out. Now I'm just going to figure out what kind of design I want to do using both of these ideas.
I tell the truth, I look better under you. I can't lose when I'm with you. How can
Absolutely hate magic rings, but, well, most of the crochet is started from this. So let's get an easy one. Wrap the yarn around your pinky finger and pull through the index finger. Wrap around your middle finger. Grab your hook. Face it away from you. Insert the loop and use it. Grab the yarn that dropped over your index finger. Bring the yarn through and rotate your hook. Then make a chain. Let it become tighter. That is. Now you can make some single or double crochet into this magic ring to test it out and see if it will close up. And it does! To learn more patterns and more different skills, check out the website and see more.
One thing I wish I knew when I was first learning how to crochet, that 99% of what you really want to be able to crochet, you can make with 5 simple stitches. I would always see these amazing projects, these beautiful blankets and sweaters with all these really intricate stitches, and I think, wow, this must have taken them years to figure out how to make this. It was only after I tried learning some of these more complicated stitches that I realized most of them are just made up of those basic foundation stitches you learn right from the beginning. So I'm going to show you those 5 foundational stitches that you absolutely need to know in order to expand your crochet knowledge. Let's get into it. First up, the foundation for any project, a chain stitch. To make the chain stitch, we're just going to yarn over and pull a loop through our hook, and we're going to repeat this multiple times to get a really long line. Next, we have the single crochet stitch. This is one of the smallest stitches we can make, and this is great for when you want to make an opaque fabric. To make this, we're just going to insert our hook into a stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through the remaining 2 loops. Up next, we have our half double crochet stitch. For this one, we're yarning over, inserting our hook into the next stitch, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, and pulling through the last 3 loops. For the double crochet stitch, we yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch, we yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. And finally, we have the triple crochet stitch. For this one, we yarn over twice, we insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 more loops, yarn over, and pull through the final 2 loops. If you practice and get really good at these 5 basic stitches, you can open up a whole new world of possibilities. And suddenly, it'll become so much easier for you to take on a new stitch. I'm going to make a separate video going over some of those more complicated stitches, but in the meantime, let me know any questions you have.
Come with me to Hobby Lobby and see what I suggest buying if you're a beginner crocheter.
First, locate the yarn aisle, and usually the aisle beside it has all the materials you'll need. The first item you need is a crochet hook. I always suggest a 5mm crochet hook for beginners, but you can buy any hook size you want as long as it corresponds to the yarn you're buying. Secondly, get a pack of stitch markers, trust me. Third, buy some darning needles. There's plastic and metal options. I always get the plastic ones though. Fourth, you need a pair of scissors. If you have some at home, you can just skip this step. Your fifth item is going to be some yarn. I always suggest acrylic yarn for beginners, and flip it onto the back to see what hook size you need. So for example, I always get medium weight yarn, and it suggests a 5mm crochet hook. But if you want to do a plushie and use thicker yarn, then you need a bigger size crochet hook. If you get thinner yarn, then you need a smaller size crochet hook. There are a variety of yarns you can choose from, for example, cotton, acrylic, bamboo, wool, etc. I suggest acrylic or cotton if you're a beginner. My favorite yarn is Yarn Bee, so I'm just going to grab my yarn. I'm going to look on the back to see the size crochet hook I need. Oh, this one says I need a 5.5mm crochet hook. This yarn is also a 5.5, so I'm just going to have to keep searching for a brand that has medium weight yarn with a 5mm crochet hook. I'm going to show you step by step how to crochet a scarf. You're going to start with a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 176, chain more or less if you want your scarf to be shorter or longer. For row 1, you're going to use half double crochet stitches. You're going to skip this first chain on your hook and half double crochet into the second chain on the hook. You yarn over, pull through, and then you're going to yarn over again and pull through 3 loops. Continue doing a half double crochet in every one of your foundation chains. Finish off round 1 with your last half double crochet, and then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now I'm going to show you how to do the stitch we're going to use for the rest of the scarf, which is called a half double crochet in the back loop only. You can see in the video that I'm pointing to the back loop, so you're going to do the same half double crochet stitch that you've been doing, just only in that back loop. Crocheting in the back loop only creates a ribbed look that makes for a really pretty scarf. If you need the written pattern to save for later, it's in the caption of this video. You're just going to continue doing half double crochet, back loop only, in every stitch in your rows. When you get to the end of each row, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Keep in mind that this chain 1 does not count as a stitch, it's just a turning chain. I ended up doing 8 rows for my scarf, but you can do more or less depending on how thick you want your scarf to be. Once you get to the end and you fasten off, make sure to weave your yarn tail through the scarf. And here's the finished scarf. If you recreate this scarf, I would love to see a picture. Happy crocheting!
If you want to learn how to crochet this year, I got you. Here are the things that you will actually need to start. Starting with the obvious, you're going to need a crochet hook. You don't need these special ones, you just need a basic one, cheap. I recommend 4.5 or 5mm hook. You can get them from like Walmart. Dollar Tree sells them. I don't really recommend Joann's or Michael's because they're like $10 plus unless you have a coupon to get it discounted. Another obvious one, you're going to need yarn. I love this yarn, literally, like what the name says, like I love this yarn. It's so good, it's acrylic, so it's like your average weight yarn, super easy to use. And this yarn is on sale like every other week at Hobby Lobby. But if you don't really care about quality or price, Red Heart yarn is a little cheaper, but it is a lot worse quality. It's kind of scratchy, it's not as soft, but you can get it at like Walmart, Michael's, Joann's, all of those craft stores. I personally don't recommend using plushie yarns or making plushies in general as a beginner. They're kind of hard to do because like you need to use all these different stitches and techniques and stuff. So if you want a thicker yarn, you can get cotton or wool. And then you'll need scissors, and that's literally it. After you get your supplies, just start playing around with your yarn, learning how you like to hold it and learning about tension, and just making small things like squares and swatches. And I'll post a video on projects I think are best for beginners.
Milk tea, drink milk tea. Milk tea, just for me. Milk tea, drink milk tea. Milk tea, just for me. Hot, milk tea's hot. When I touch, nice. Milk tea's nice. When I smell, sweet. Milk tea, sweet. When I taste, hot, nice. Sweet milk tea. Touch, smell, taste. Milk tea, drink milk tea. Milk tea, just for me. Milk tea, drink milk tea. Milk tea, just for me. Hot, milk tea's hot. When I touch, nice. Milk tea's nice. When I smell, sweet. Milk tea's sweet. When I taste, hot, nice. Sweet milk tea.
Here's everything I wish someone had told me before I started crocheting that would have saved me so much time in the long run. My name's Nicole. I've been a crochet pattern designer for the past 13 years now. I've made stuff like this, and this. And it's safe to say my beginning projects did not look anything like this, so I'm going to save you a lot of time and tell you what I wish I knew when I was first learning how to crochet. The very first thing is you need to have the correct crochet hook and the correct yarn before you start your project. Crochet hooks come in so many different sizes, from 2mm all the way to 30mm. Depending on what hook you're using, you're going to get a really big stitch or a really small stitch. When you're following a crochet pattern, you have to really match up your hook and your yarn to what they're using, otherwise you're going to end up with something that's a completely different size. This, for example, is a 4.5mm hook, and you can see the stitches are not too big and not too small. Try to find a project that calls for something in that 4 to 6mm hook range. You also want to check the yarn weight, and that really just means how thick the yarn is. I have an entire video breaking down the different yarn weights and what they mean, but for a beginner, I always recommend going with a worsted weight yarn or weight 4. The next thing I'm going to show you is where to put your hook to make your stitch. So here's my current project, and you can see at the top here, all of these stitches are made up of these little V's at the top. A little V shape here, a little V shape here. You're going to want to insert your hook right underneath that V. So just like that. It can get really confusing when you're working with multiple stitches, but as long as you're able to find that V shape, you should be okay. And lastly, I would make sure you master the basic foundation stitches for crocheting before you try any big elaborate project. A lot of those really complicated crochet stitches that you see are really just a combination of the foundation stitches. So once you've figured those out perfectly, you'll be able to do pretty much anything you want with crocheting. Here's the full list of stitches you'll need to know, and I would just search each one on YouTube, try to practice it individually. Just by getting really good at those stitches, you'll pretty much be able to crochet whatever you want. This ruffle skirt I'm working on, it looks really complicated at first, but all it is a series of double crochets just done a little bit differently. Because I knew how to make the double crochet stitch, it was a lot easier for me to design. Hope this was helpful for you. If you have any other questions or you want to see more tips, let me know.
When I first started crocheting, I got really basic stuff. You don't need anything super fancy to start out with. So I got this set of crochet hooks, and they go from 3.125 millimeters to 6.5, and they're just all aluminum. The brand is Boye, B-O-Y-E, and I got them at Walmart. And I think this was the first one I used, the 6.5, on a little tote bag that I made, which was my first project. But before that, I just practiced the basic stitches and made little swatches and just got kind of comfortable with how to crochet. And I also got one with like the squishy base, and this is just a 5 millimeter of the same brand. But I did upgrade not long after to clover hooks, and I've never looked back because they're so nice. I got this one first. It's just the 4.5 millimeter one, and like the yarn just was gliding through it like butter, and it just felt so much easier to crochet with. So I really love these. I got a set of them on Amazon on sale, so sometimes you can find sales on a set, but you don't really need to like go all in yet. You can just get one, see how you like it. And then for yarn, I started off with cotton yarn. I also got all of my beginning stuff at Walmart. So this one is their mainstay brand, and it's actually quite soft for an 100% cotton yarn. So there's that. And then they also have a brand called Peaches and Cream, which is very similar / the same to Lilies and Cream, which you can find at like normal craft stores, but Walmart carries it as well. So these are both just 100% cotton yarn. I find the Peaches and Cream to be like a little bit softer actually, and a little nicer. I started in springtime, so like cotton yarns made more sense than buying anything that was like acrylic or synthetic. But if you're starting and it's still colder where you live, you can totally get something like that if you want to make like something warm, like a cardigan or a little scarf or a little beanie. But yeah, basic stuff. And then I slowly upgraded to slightly nicer things like my clover hooks. Good luck!